Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have a very special guest, the Filip Raboch Wanderer. This is a bag that's highly sought after. Everybody's trying to get their hands on it. And just today, as of the filming of this video, he launched a new lottery to be able to get your hands on one. But without getting too far into the video, if you're going to talk about the Wanderer, well, I have a bit of a story to tell. The Wanderer wasn't always the Wanderer. In fact, it started out life as this exact bag. This is the genesis of the Wanderer. You'll notice some differences from the actual bag. This is what we affectionately call the Black Widow. This was a bag that was designed as a custom bag for my wife, who designed the bag based on something she really needed compared to the bag she had been using. The bag she had been using looks something like this. This is the Filip Raboch Day Pack. Now, she loved that bag. She used it all the time. But there was one major issue with that bag for her, and that was, well, the lack of space. It was great on the daily, but when she went on a trip or something like that, well, she just needed bigger, because sometimes, well, bigger is. That's where the brainchild, or that's the genesis of the Wanderer. So essentially what happened was, she took that day pack, took a bunch of pictures of it, and drew on top of it. All she really drew was a roll top, some compression straps, and this Joey pocket. Now, none of these things are, well, new features when it comes to backpacks, but it was a cool idea to take that basic day pack idea and turn it into something, well, a little bit more wanderable. She has used this bag consistently now for, wow, nears on 4 years. And it has held up great. Now, I'm not going to get too deeply into this bag because it's not exactly like the Wanderer that you can get today and the one I'm going to show you today. But just as a reference, you can see it here. It is bigger than the Wanderer, so take that for what it is. If it looks big on the table compared to what you're about to see, it quite literally is. And let's say goodbye to that and bring in the baby. Well, here is the baby that those bags spawned. This is the actual Wanderer. Again, I'm probably going to need to put a little disclaimer here because, in fact, this is a pre-production prototype of the first time it was going to become a production bag from Filip Raboch called the Wanderer. So this is in between the last bag you saw and the production Wanderer, but for all intents and purposes, it's basically the same. It's just slightly smaller. The premise of the Wanderer is a panel loading roll top backpack. There are lots of options for panel loading roll top backpacks, so there's nothing that makes that specifically unique about this, but this particular one has a group of features that I think works great and is one of the more versatile bags you can get, which probably is the reason why it's so popular. Now, a little bit about Filip himself. Filip's a great friend, so I'm just going to get that out of the way. He's based in Prague in the Czech Republic, and he makes all these bags by himself in his little studio. As far as I know lately, he has a little help cutting, but that's about it. The materials on this particular bag are VX42 with some RX30 on the inside, but that's not particularly important because this bag can be got in almost any material you want, or any material that he stocks. So it's not something that you can look at here and say this is what the bag is, because, well, the materials are going to vary depending on bag to bag. Every single one of these you get or somebody gets is very specific to them. He does use mostly challenge sailcloth for these stretchy bits, and the zippers he uses are all YKK. The zipper type can vary depending on what you like. I like these shiny ones. Not a lot of people do, but when he was doing this bag, I was really happy to get the shiny zippers. If you saw my wife's bag previously, those are matte zippers. Anyway, they're all YKK and they're all high quality. I have this bag packed out right now as it would be for like a basic day. And in a little bit, I'll show you how it expands, because that is the beauty of a roll top, is, well, the expansion. Before we get into all that, let's talk a little bit about the harness system. You can see the back panel here has changed a little bit from that previous bag. There are smaller channels here. There's some spacer mesh and the same spacer mesh on the back of the straps. This bag is very, very comfortable to carry, and almost everybody that carries it says that. In terms of top handle, it has a very basic loop top handle. And I mean, honestly, if there was one thing I could nitpick about this bag, I mean, I would love something beefier here, but, you know, what are you going to do? He uses mostly metal hardware, so these are metal tri-glides. There are the same metal tri-glides up here on the load lifters. You can see there. And then some decent Woojin hardware for the other places. The bag can stand up on its own, as you can see, like this. Now, it is slightly slanted at the bottom, but if you put anything a little bit heavy in the bottom, I find that it has no problem at all standing up. You can see it's pretty sturdy. So if that's something that's important to you, it is quite doable to make it stand up like this. In terms of pocketing, when you do a custom bag with him, there are several things you can change, but I'm going to go over this bag in particular. I'm not going to talk too much about the options. You should email him if you want to know more about that, or email me, because a lot of people do that anyway. You'll see these little tabs here. That is for a shock cord system that you can put along the front. I don't have it installed here because I think it's overkill with this pocket. My recommendation would be choose one or the other when you're making this bag. Choosing both doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. This was a prototype, so it was kind of get both of them on there and see which one works and how. The bag has two water bottle pockets on both sides. It's the same ultra stretch material. They are quite high. They have a small gusset at the bottom. They gobble up big water bottles, and there's nothing to really say otherwise. There are small compression straps on the side where you can suck in the bag a little bit and make it even smaller for daily carry. I don't tend to mess with them. They just kind of stay as they are almost all the time. Fidlock buckles for this. You'll notice my wife's just now had Cobra buckles. That is something you can choose if you'd like, but for me, I actually prefer the Fidlocks. I think they match the aesthetic of the bag a little bit better. My wife is just extremely hard on bags, so the Cobra makes more sense because, well, she can even break these. No kidding. Before we get too much deeper into the bag, the elephant in the room is that this is a very expensive bag. To be fair, Filip makes all of these bags by hand himself, so you have to kind of expect it to be expensive. It can't really be cheap. You're not paying for something made in a factory, you're paying for something made by a craftsman in a small studio. Because of this, he obviously can't manufacture many of these bags, and it's his choice to continue to manufacture them himself instead of outsourcing. A lot of people have said he should outsource, but to be honest, I think that's a choice that I respect, that he likes to do it himself and keep all of his stuff going in-house. In terms of pocketing, there's a quick access pocket along the top. This is one of the cooler pockets on the back. You can see my particular one here is lined in that ultra stretch material. I keep my camera, which lives inside this pouch, and my AirPods in there. The front of the bag has this Joey pocket. Inside the Joey pocket I keep a hat. This pocket can like really stretch out. Like you could get like a soccer ball in here if you really wanted to. I put jackets and everything inside here. Great pocket, super useful, highly recommended. The front quick access is here and it goes down to about there. No organization on the inside. I keep this alpaca wallet thing in there that I use as well. A wallet, like I just said. That's actually all for the externals of this bag. Most people go with the optional zipper here for access to the laptop. I don't really need that, so I don't have it on this particular bag, but most people do have it, and it's probably something that, well, is useful for most people. When the bag is still in rolled up position, you can get access to the full contents with this panel loading design. Inside the bag I have this Tombin something or other. This is a Pacolab prototype packable samurai, which I'm not really supposed to talk too much about. And on the bottom I just have a packable tote, which kind of sits there. My particular version of the bag has a bunch of pockets, but you can kind of ignore, especially this one on the bottom, because that's not really something that he does. The laptop sleeve is here. It is suspended off the bottom of the bag, so you don't have to worry too much about your laptop. There's no padding, but not really necessary in this type of bag. Zippered pocket here on the front. There are optional, like just 2 pockets kind of thing you can get depending on what floats your boat. On the front of the flap, you've got 2 other pockets. You've got a mesh pocket here, which is using that same ultra stretch. I've got some water tissues, and then in this top pocket I have a hand sanitizer, and that's it really. And that's sort of how the bag rolls. Simplicity, but there's some beauty in simplicity. Now I'm going to repack it with this stuff and show you a little bit how you can the expandability of this guy. This bag comes in at around 18 or so liters, 20, when it's just in its regular configuration like this. But then, the party trick is obviously the roll top. So the roll top, you can access it by pulling on these 2 fidlocks. And, well, you roll it up. Now you're looking into the deep chasm of the roll top. Now you can see here how much extension you get by using that roll top. This gives you a ton of space, and that's a weather tight seal up on the top. This is my favorite jacket. I will shove that in first. Okay, so we kind of got this much now. Some other jacket that I was wearing today, like a fleece thing. Let's see if we can shove that in there too. Okay, so I got 2 big jackets in there. I'm going to undo those compression straps so it gives it a little bit more space on the side. Okay, now let's see if we can actually get this done up. There are 2 magnets here, so you can see they keeps that part closed tight. And I'm going to roll it down a little bit. See how far I can get. I think 3 rolls is the best we're going to do. So I got 3 on that side. 3 on that side, and we're golden. So now you can see this is what you end up with. Something like this. Does it look goofy? A little bit. But every roll top looks a little bit goofy when it's completely packed. And you can see what it looks like from the side. So basically you went from your day pack, which is like 20 or so liters, to something that's closer to 32 to 35 as far as you want to go. I mean, that's some serious versatility. And you get even more if you include how big this front stretchy pocket is and all of that stuff. Now, I don't really carry this bag like this too often, but sometimes when I'm on a trip, what I really like about this particular bag is I can put my packing cube up here on the top, extend it like it is, have my normal daily carry on the bottom, and then when I get to the hotel, I just undo these guys, pull out my packing cube, and well, cinch it down and I'm rocking day pack mode. It is a great 1-bag travel bag, and the beauty of the panel loader and any clamshell opening panel loader is that even though we've got it completely stuffed, you can open up and still get to your contents here at the bottom. So that's it. That's the Filip Raboch Wanderer. Great bag, one of my absolute favorites, and one that, well, deserves the hype. So that's it for tonight, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. I don't know what's coming up next, but you'll find out when I do. Talk soon. Bye-bye.